In our special report, Tennessee's Constitution, adopted in 1796, has been amended just 8 times, including this past fall.
However, none of those amendments have addressed the document's requirement that to run for office, you must believe in God. WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News reporter Kurt Mullen takes a closer look.
Article 9, Section 2 of the Tennessee State Constitution reads, "No person who denies the being of God or a future state of rewards and punishments shall hold any office in the civil department of this state."
Essentially what it's saying is that atheists can't hold office in the state of Tennessee.
Dale Condor practices Constitution law in Jackson. He says the law has been deemed unconstitutional.
In 1961, the U.S. Supreme Court had a case, Torcaso versus Watkins, challenging a very similar provision of Maryland's Constitution.
Tennessee, Maryland, and 5 other states, Arkansas, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Texas, still have language in their Constitution that prohibits people who do not believe in God from holding office. National atheist rights group, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, says laws like this, though they're not enforced, still suppress atheists.
It is a relic of another age. It is unconstitutional, and they absolutely should be removed. Because as long as they're there, it still is a signal to people that atheists are less than full citizens in the state of Tennessee.
Andrew Seidel is an attorney for the Freedom from Religion Foundation. In a Skype interview, he says the non-religious part of the country now makes up 19% of the country's population, and calls for state lawmakers to change the Constitution's reading.
It would be nice to see the state legislatures at least declare or amend the Constitution to say that atheists are full and equal citizens, and that this provision is not only unconstitutional but has no place in our society.
But according to Condor, removing sections from the Constitution isn't a typical solution.
That's not something that happens that often. Usually when states have constitutional conventions, it's to add something. Rarely do they take anything out.
Church leaders I spoke with in Jackson say even though it's never been enforced, wording like this still in the Constitution doesn't help their cause.
I think we forfeit even be able to have a discussion about God with them if we're persecuting them because they don't already believe in God.
Paul Riddle is the senior pastor at Highland Park Church.
In the history of the church, we've been discriminated against. And now that we might, some would argue, have a majority in a particular society, we can't turn around and then become the persecutor.
As for changing the language, Condor says it's probably there to stay.
Some states carry those forward, and they're there, they're unenforceable, they're unconstitutional, but they're there.
In downtown Jackson, Kurt Mullen, WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News.
Now, we reached out to local state representatives for comment on the Constitution, but we've not received any replies. Atheists aren't the only groups now who are discriminated against in the volunteer state's Constitution. Section 1 of the same article says ministers aren't allowed to hold public office, while Section 3 prohibits those involved in a duel from doing the same. Now, to take a look at the state's Constitution for yourself, look for the link in the website, WBBJTV.com. Click Scene on 7.